Not really. Actually, I'm here to tell a story. My name's Rob Bucci. I'm the founder and CEO of Stat Search Analytics. We're a 30-person plus team based out of Railtown. We make one of the best products in the world for helping people measure the visibility of their websites in the search engines. We typically work more for the enterprise. And it's kind of a weird story because Stat is 100% bootstrapped, completely private. We're now a plus $6 million company. We've been very successful and profitable all along. And it doesn't happen very often, at least so I'm told. So I have a story. Now, the lessons in the story are not necessarily self-evident. So I've got this slide deck, which is basically intended to drive the point home. So listen to what I say, watch the slide deck. Here we go. Okay, so it's 2009. I'm 26 years old and I'm getting stoned in my parents' basement. Right? I'm 26 years old in my parents' basement. I wasn't doing that great at that time. The point is that I just moved back home to pursue my dream of basically being self-employed. I went through my entire university career goofing off and learning no marketable skills. So I graduated in 2005 with my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in sculpture, and I was like, all right, real world, here we go. I had no idea how to make money. Adulthood sucked when you wasted your youth. So I decided that I was going to move back home and I was going to learn a marketable skill, and that was programming. I was going to teach myself how to write code because I figured that was the best path towards financial independence. I figured that programming is something of a superpower, and I wanted to have that superpower. So at the time, I was writing Ruby scripts, and I was scraping statistics off of websites like NHL.com or NBA.com, and I was selling those databases to people who were building websites for advertising revenue. It was super sketchy. But I learned how to write code and I was bringing money in and I felt like I was king shit even though I was just eating ramen. It was great. At that same time, I developed a crazy lifelong obsession for baked goods, and every morning I would go down to the local bakery and I would get 7 to 10 croissants, all of which I would just crush as I was programming for 12 to 14 hours at a time, hunched over a keyboard like this, not realizing that at 26 years old, my body was a ticking time bomb and it would completely go to shit unless I started taking care of it, which is the next really important lesson. I can barely deadlift or anything nowadays because I never took care of myself and my non-ergonomic work setup. Treat your body well. But the point is, those marathon sessions were a key characteristic of the early 4 years of my career because I didn't know what other people knew. I had this crazy handicap. I'd never wrote code before. I'd never ran a business before. I had to work twice as hard as everyone else. Ahead of the curve, that hard work was the price of admission. You must be this crazy to ride the ride. But I wish I had gotten up and stretched once in a while, basically. So the lesson there is, yeah, work hard, but realize that that's not tenable on a long-term strategy. Learn how to work smarter and work through people over time, rather than trying to do all the work yourself and always signing up for the hard hours. Okay, fast forward to 2011. 2011 was an interesting year. Fast forward to 2011, I made the jump from a sole proprietorship to an incorporation. I did so about a year too late because I had a $90,000 personal tax bill. And I just my eyes rolled back into my head and I started speaking Latin. But the reason I had this crazy tax bill was because I was making enough money. In fact, I was making good enough money that I realized it's more than I need. I have this opportunity to start a business. So I went out, I found someone just as crazy as me and asked them to come work for me, and Anish joined my team. Well, there's the lesson, by the way. Let's back up a little bit. Incorporate early, don't pay $90,000 in taxes. Okay, this is the slide I want it to be on. Anish came and joined the company. He's in the back of the room over there, and Anish has been there ever since. He's just as crazy as me and was willing to stick around. So that's us. I don't know what we're doing, but that's us. While I was building Stat, I was blogging a lot. I was blogging about technical SEO, and I was blogging about my experience learning how to figure out encoding problems in Ruby, which is weird, and learning about how to build a product. And I built a pretty good market. By the time I launched the product, I had a market, an audience who was ready to pick up whatever I was putting down. So when I came out and I had this product, I was able to say, hey, look what I released. And all of a sudden, day one, I had customers. And I was wasn't valuing my time. I was valuing my time at zero. So I was like, hey, I'm profitable. But that happened really early because I built the audience as I was building the product, which is, if you're gonna take anything away from my advice on starting a business, don't wait to build your audience until after you have a product ready to sell. Start early. Share your story. People want to hear it. It's actually interesting, even though you don't think you're interesting. I promise you are. Okay, so when we started selling the product, it was, I won't say it was a piece of shit. It wasn't a piece of shit, but it was rough. And even though it was rough, we were still willing to say to people, hey, pay us money, pay us like good money. And people were willing to pay because we found people who had great need. There were people who were willing to work with us to make the product better, and they were fantastic customers to have because their need was so great that they were willing to take whatever we would throw at them, like, you know, downtime, whatever. Like, okay, you don't know the data, what the data's right today, whatever. Because they really needed what we were selling. And that was really great for us because we were really eager to learn back from them, and we were just really happy to have, hey, income. Those early customers were crucial. Really early on, I landed a whale of a customer. I landed Expedia in the first year that we launched the product, and it really changed the trajectory in the course of our business. I landed them because of that audience development strategy. It's a good story. You could ask me during Q&A if you want, but the point is that they became the cornerstone of our business for many years, and they helped shape us towards the enterprise. In fact, they opened up a lot of opportunity for us to get into the enterprise, and I don't think that our company would be what it is today without having had landed them early on. Flash forward to 2014, I love this. This is so many people's experience. We're like arrow through the heart. 2014, I have a team of 5 developers and things are super dysfunctional. Like, I don't know how to manage programmers. I don't know how to manage projects. I don't know anything about process. I don't know anything about agile. I don't know anything about working in a software development company. I hire a senior developer to help me manage the team, and I don't even know how to manage him, right? Has anyone been in that situation? I leaped in with both feet, and it was really stupid of me, because what happened was I lost him. We had to part ways because I didn't know how to manage him. He didn't know how to work with my ambiguous, constant changing direction. Let's move the goalpost every single day, madness as I was trying to be a leader. And it just didn't work out. And after that happened, I realized I needed to go back and read some books and actually prepare myself for this thing that I told myself I was going to do. So I read a bunch of books. I learned a whole bunch. And at the same time, Anish, dear Anish, stepped up to the plate and really helped bring some sanity to our process, helped the company keep moving forward, allowing me time to exercise my demons and figure out how to be a proper leader. So that's my next point. When you find great people, treat them well. They're integral to your success. You cannot do it alone. Find great people, treat them well. Oh, there's a laser in this, you guys are screwed. I'm gonna blind you. All right. Okay. It's 2015 and we're screwed. What happened was Google made a change. Google did something that prevented us from getting the data that we need to give to our customers, and overnight it was like, okay, that's it, jig's up, we're done, we're screwed, let's go home. We had a 3-day outage, and customers started asking really uncomfortable questions. I went home, and like for the first time in my adult life, I cried over work. I remember the day, April 1st, 2015, what a crappy April Fool's joke that was. And it was shitty, but amazingly, Anish, dear old Anish, hi Anish, found a way around that problem. And we kept on going. We got the data. The day was saved, the business survived, and everything went fine. So again, find great people, treat them well. The people you work with are everything. I should just call this talk, people are great. The people you work with are everything. All of my best experiences, all of my most soul-filling, wonderful things that I experienced in my company, all revolve around the people. A good company, when you find yourself in a good position, you're profitable, you're making money, what you're doing is creating opportunities for people. Any good company should be an opportunity engine, and that's how you have to see it. The people are everything. Okay, let's flash forward, 2016. Building a brand new office. This office is like our fortress of solitude. It is like the key platform on which everything we want to do in the future will be built. We got a converted warehouse in Yaletown, in Railtown. There are no converted warehouses in Yaletown anymore. In Railtown, 10,000 square foot space, completely gutted, and we started building our dream office. This is us on the floor, me arguing with some construction guys probably. Flash forward to April 2016. This is the actual office. It's a gorgeous space. We move in, we're super stoked. We have all these crazy hiring plans. We step on the gas and we're starting to bring this thing from like 25 people to 50 people. And May 31st, 20% of my revenue just vaporizes. I get a call from a customer who's like, hey Rob, it's Expedia by the way, #1 customer. Hey Rob, we've been working with you for 5 years, but it's time for us to go try something else because 5 years is a long time. So no hard feelings, boom, there goes 20% of your business. I was weirdly relieved because they were this giant elephant, and we always knew that they were too big, and so we spent 2 years building diversity into our client base. We sold as many customers as we could around Expedia, so that when we lost them, we were okay. In fact, we lost them, we survived the hit, and we were still profitable, and that was really awesome. Now, being a bootstrap company that's not taking money and never wants to take money, the only option you have is to be financially conservative. Put as much money away in net profit as you can in the bank. Your gross margins are great, but really think about your net margin at the end of the day, because that's what's going to help you get through some awful, awful storms. That's the point I just made, so I'm a little bit behind on the slides. You can read it, it's cool. It's just don't rely on your investors. I just said that. Anyway, present day, okay. We're 30 plus people. We're in our office in Railtown. We are still, bulking up our revenue, building back from that place where we lost a bunch, but we're stepping on the gas anyway. We just closed the last financial year with plus $6 million in ARR, and we're in a really good financial place. We're very profitable and healthy, and we're starting to build our next big product. So if you are in any way technically minded, you're into product, you're into UX, you're into data viz, I really want to speak with you. That's the reason I'm out tonight. I would love to meet people who are interested in building analytics products. The point of my story, though, is that if I can do it, anyone can do it. What you need is a good company, a good idea. The company comes after. You need a good idea, you need a lot of perseverance, you need really, really good people to come along on the ride with you. I have one final piece of advice for all of the CEOs or soon-to-be CEOs in the room, and it's something I remember and I tell myself almost daily, and it might seem negative, but it's not. The only way out is through. If you just keep showing up day after day, working your hardest, doing your best, you'll be fine, I promise. But the only way out is through. Thank you. Oh, for Q&A, of course. Sorry, I forgot. Okay. Does anyone have a question? It's either good or bad. That's a great idea, by the way. That's a great question. All right, I'm not going to plug it that hard. Okay, so like the typical perks that people enjoy at Stat, you get 15 days paid vacation, an additional 2 weeks off a year. It's a great office to work at in terms of the people. People are very relaxed. We try to remind ourselves that like no one dies on the table. Like we all want to do our best, and we're all super high achievers, and everyone is pushing everyone else along. But we're always reminding each other like, hey, take it easy. Don't freak out. Let's not have any conflict or any major problems in how people are getting too stressed. So the environment itself is one that's very friendly. And yeah, there are perks, but perks are perks. Lots of companies have perks. I would rather say that the reason you want to come work at Stat is because it's a company where people are actively taking an interest in your development and want to create opportunities for you. And I have this campground philosophy of employment, which is, if you're into camping, you know this, leave the campground better than when you found it. And it's exactly the same thing with everyone who comes to work at Stat. You want them to leave Stat one day. They're never going to work there forever, but when you do leave, I want you to be better off when you can. That's it. Look, Stat employees.
What are your 3 favorite startup leadership books?
Okay, I hate like inveigling proprietary language that you find in all these startup books. Everyone creates everything like into a proper noun. It's like, that's just a fucking task list. Don't call it something else. So I'm kind of allergic to them, right? But Good to Great is like a seminal one you just got to read because it teaches you how to be focused, especially if you're like me and you have a lot of crazy ideas coming at you. It teaches you how to create a plan, stick to the plan, and just iterate on the plan. And the focus creates clarity for everyone else. So that was a really powerful one. The Hard Thing About Hard Things, because I like all its hip-hop references in them. And it's just like a well-written book. It's like super enjoyable. The one that, you guys are gonna laugh at me. So the one I'm really enjoying right now, but I can't finish, is called Deep Work. And it's about like rules for focused success in a distracted world, and I can't finish it because I can't find the focus to finish it. But what I've read so far is fantastic. So I'd also recommend that one. So to recap, Good to Great, Hard Thing About Hard Things, and Deep Work, which is by Cal Newport.
Hello? Cool. Anybody else?
Hey, what did you do in the times that you felt discouraged, business wasn't so well?
Yeah, okay, so this is therapy. This is going to turn into therapy, all right. In the early days, I played this really ugly mental game with myself where I'd go like, fuck it, I could just ride this rocket ship into the ground. I could like fire everyone and I could like juice all the net profit and I would just go do something else, right? And I like went through this really awful, debilitating mental cycle of having bad days and then telling myself I could just burn it to the ground and start again. And I had to get through that. That was really key because that was the most negative way to deal with setbacks, was to think, I'm gonna give up. And almost every time you get to the edge of going, I'm gonna give up, and then you're like, it's like chicken, you blink and you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. Once I got through that, I learned that the best way to deal with setbacks was to share that pain or that feeling, what I was going through, and I share it actively with like my husband, I share it with my employees. I say to them things like, okay, I have a lot of anxiety right now, and here's what I'm thinking, and here's why I am treating this problem more serious than another problem because I'm really stressed about X, right? Sharing that burden creates camaraderie, but it amazes you to realize that the people you're working with feel the exact same way, and that when that feeling is reciprocated back at you, you feel stronger together. So that's the key thing, is like vulnerability, practicing that openly, and sharing the crap you're going through. Especially as a solo founder, you're tempted to think like everything is on you, and it's just not. You accept it to be on you, but it doesn't have to be. Cool? All right.
Excellent.
Thank you.